Good morning, everyone. Welcome back into the AM show. Now, our next guest is a true powerhouse in the entertainment world. Susan Rybin is an award-winning actress, teacher, and founder of Rybin Talent Management and Rybin Studio of Drama. With a career spanning over 40 years, she's helped shape the careers of countless performers while breaking barriers as a performer herself. Her impact has been felt on stage, on screen, and also behind the scenes. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I love to travel to Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah, where are you traveling from?
I came from New Jersey.
All the way from Jersey. Wow.
Yeah.
What part of Jersey?
I'm in Linden.
Nice.
So my son dropped me off before going to work. That's my baby. Even though he's an old man already. Not that old, but.
No, you raised him right, dropping mama off. I love that. That's perfect. And we were talking a little bit off camera about how your family is actually involved in what you're doing right now. And we will get to all of that because I want to hear your son's side on the IT side of things with the company. But first, I want to bring this all the way back. Start the conversation from the beginning of what maybe inspired you to starting the talent management companies. And that's because you were an actress yourself, right? So you actually started acting at just 6 years old. So what do you remember when you were acting with the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater?
Well, what I remember the most is when my grandmother is the one that went to take acting classes. She brought me with her, and then all of a sudden one of the actors was not there, that was sick. And so Carla Pinza, the director, said, does your granddaughter read Spanish? And does it, you know, and she said, yeah. And so I started reading, but I started acting it out. So I wound up being in their first play in their training unit. And then after that, I went into the professional show that they were doing back then, in 1972, something like that. Yeah. And that's what started off my career. I started just being a professional theater actress all my life.
Yeah.
And it was thanks to my mentor, Miriam Colon, you know, who passed away, of course, from the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater, who made the Hispanic movement major in the theater movement in the Latino market, and was able to, actually was the pioneer of the Latin movement in theater in New York City.
Wow.
Wow. And you were able to connect with him at such a young age, too.
Yes, very. And I kept on working. As an adult, I also worked at the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater on 47th Street, which they have their theater there. So I was blessed to be able, as an adult, to perform there as well, not too many years ago. And we did 3 Calla Lilies, both in English and Spanish. My daughter was in it when she was like 9 years old. And so it's just wonderful. It's a family to me. But there's a lot of theater in New York that's for Latinos, and I worked at Repertorio Español, and I did, the last thing I did was the monologue of Frida Kahlo.
Oh my God.
So that was a major thing. So I do keep acting when I have the time, but yes, I like to help others, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, you know, you're able to do, just from starting off, you've been able to have just such a vast career in doing impactful pieces like that. I mean, I want to just kind of jump right into what you find that sticks out to most. What keeps your fire going for acting?
Me as an actress, what keeps my fire going is that I think that's something I was born with, and it's passion.
Yeah.
And I find theater, besides TV and film, because TV and film to me is a lot simpler to actually do. Once you're a theater actor, you can do anything. But my passion for theater is that I'm able to connect with the audience and be able to transmit different emotions and entertain them in a way that you engage them to watch you, and they have fun.
Yeah.
And so there's different pieces. Of course, Frida Kahlo, which was the last theater production I did as a monologue, that was not an easy task because I had to research becoming Frida Kahlo.
Wow.
And we did it also at Theater Row Studios on 42nd Street, and at the United Solo Festival, you know, won an award for that. But it was mainly to see how the audience was able to understand her life and to be able to bring her to life and truthfully, which I was able to do so, you know, with all the research I did.
Oh, that's amazing. It's so fun to be able to dive into a character and really just understand the history, you know, from that standpoint. I mean, that must have been was that one of your greatest, I guess, characters that you have embodied?
I would say one of them. When I was 15, the other one I remember was playing Anne Frank in the Diary of Anne Frank. And so and I was able to talk to Anne Frank's dad back then over the phone just to know more about Anne.
Wow.
You know, before he passed away. So I always liked as an actress, and like I always tell all my clients, do as much research as possible, especially if it's a historical figure, and you really want to get the most out of it. And if you can get to talk to family members, which I did for Frida as well, you know, that's how you can actually make that character come to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my passion.
That's incredible.
Well, it's huge because you want to make it believable too.
Of course.
And you want to tell the truth of it as well. And
Of
really
course.
just bring
Well,
that
that's
out.
one of my vocabulary words, like in my technique that I created for my kids, I'm talking my clients, you know, for what I do, is what is acting? And to me, it's very simple. My definition is acting is just to feel and believe in what you say and do. That's it. I mean, if you feel and believe in what you're saying, just like you are now when you're interviewing me, the audience will grasp it. The audience will be engaged, and they'll believe it too.
And especially because we live in a world now where everybody wants authenticity.
Yes.
You want it, especially in the acting, because you want to go there and forget. You want to really believe that you're Anne Frank, or really believe that you're Frida, going through these experiences. So
And it takes a toll on you.
I'm sure it does.
You know, I didn't live for like 6-8 months. Like I was disconnected from my family, from everybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is that intentional? You do that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's the only way I can really focus and really learn more and become. Because you're bringing a person that existed, you know, that lived, you know, and you want to be truthful.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a fictional character, well, that's a little bit simpler. Yeah. Because you can adapt and you can make it your own and do whatever you want with it. But, you know, it's a challenge to be able to bring someone.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and it's a challenge you've done well, because for your portrayal of Anne Frank, you actually received the Arts, Sciences, Lettres Award in France, and you were the only child to ever receive that award.
Yes, as a
Tell
minor.
us about that.
Well, I got the bronze medal, and then I got the other medal. It was for 2 different things, because I also did this Properties Condemned by Tennessee Williams. It was great. I mean, I'm very honored. I'm very blessed. I don't think it's about awards. Awards are good, and they make you feel good, you know, and say, oh, well, yeah, I got an award. I have all these awards in my home office right now. It's like everywhere I look, the walls are filled up, but it's really not about that. It's about being able to make a difference in people's lives and the applause.
Yeah.
You know, when you're
That
done,
energy.
it's like, that's the best part.
Yeah.
You know, but thank you. Yes, I'm blessed that a lot of people have recognized me over the years, and I want to keep on going. I love it, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, getting recognized that young and being one of the only ones to do it, did that drive you and push you to continue and be like, hey, this is meant for me?
It was just a topping, you know, like they say, you know, that it was just something that just said, okay, well, I must be doing something, right?
There you go.
What's next? You know, like the last thing I did, I really enjoyed doing Law and Order, you know, so that was exciting. That was fun. I like TV and film too.
Yeah.
I find it to be a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, I think you make it look easy. And speaking of Law and Order, we actually do have a clip.
Oh my God,
of
you do? Oh no! Oh,
Let's
no.
check it out for
How
everyone.
did you did your research?
Yes, we did.
Very beautiful. It's a blessing. Also maybe a little bit of a curse.
So many men, like fruit flies.
But Paolo, he married her, right?
Mujeriego, cheater, liar. She deserved every cent she got from him.
Oh my God! Cheater, liar.
How was that experience?
It was fun.
Yeah?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I've done a lot of things. When I was younger, I was doing a lot more, of course, in my 20s, you know. But I was able to work in police brass with Carol O'Connor. I love Carol O'Connor. He was so much fun. But then I wish I could have done more, and that's the reason that I think I became a manager. Because when I was growing up, there was really no managers out there. You know, and also specializing in Latino talent. Like I was the only one, together with Elizabeth Peña, who passed away, who was my best friend practically. You know, she did Free Willy. She went to LA and the whole thing. Elizabeth Peña, which I love. I love her and her sister. But growing up, we didn't have that. No managers or anybody specializing in helping Latino talent, young kids, especially kids, open up doors. You know, so, and maybe that is the reason that I decided to I said, let me do something and let me see if I can help the Latino youth out there. And that's why I started what I started.
I love that. I love it. You know, and to dive into a bit more of the details, specifically, even if you're tuning in, if you are in the acting field, there is the understanding of management and also agent.
Correct.
So you have highlighted management, which I love because I view management as you are an advocate. You advocate for your clients, and you really have their best interests at heart. And I feel like what a manager does is they really dig deep and they really have an understanding of who their clients are and putting them in the best position. So can you just speak a little bit about the difference between management and
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of misconception about that. A talent agency is just an employment agency. There's thousands and thousands of talent agencies out there, and they have a lot, a very big roster, over 3,000 clients, whatever, depending on the agent and their section or their division. A manager is more like a second mama or a second dad. It's someone that guides the career of an actor from beginning to end, and is there, always helping and guiding and discussing the best choices to make in their career, as far as auditions, as far as projects that they're going to be doing once they're out there, of course, And so I love being a manager because it makes me feel that I'm really, really creating a career from scratch. And I've been doing that for 42 years with kids. So I start one of my top clients right now is Kevin Chacon. I started him at the age of 9 years old, and now he's 18, and he's done all this work already, and now he's on his way to even bigger things, and I saw him grow up. So he's like my kid. But besides Kevin, I have many others that are in the same boat and that I've seen grow, since they were tiny, and then I keep going. They just become adults, and I'm still renewing contracts because they don't want to let me go, and I don't want to let them go either. When I have really good clients, why let them go? Let's continue the journey together and make them big like they deserve. And but if they're not good clients or whatever, then I just let them go. Or they let me go if they think that I'm not doing something right or something. But it really, I've been blessed. I haven't had any problems really over the years. I just like helping others, and whoever doesn't want my help, then let them walk,
Yeah, well, it has to be that mutual relationship, right? Like you both are getting something out of it in a sense, and people have to want to put the work and the effort into it.
And also you need to work with the family when it comes to kids, and the parents have a lot to do with it. The parents need to have the time and support their kids in what they're doing. And so it's teamwork. So I always tell the parents, I'm gonna be working with you because he's a minor, but let's team up. Let's do this together in a way that it's for the best interest of my client. And now that my clients are adults, like Kevin, 18, I just speak to my clients now, and they're like, yeah, mama, whatever you say, mama.
Well, just speaking of that, though, because it's not just about the talent, it is about their parents, too. How do you handle some of those showdowns, in a sense?
It's not easy.
Yeah?
It's not easy. You see all the gray hair I have here?
Yep, that's each client.
Yeah, right, besides my kids. I've had thousands of kids throughout these 42 years. The parents are one of the hardest tasks. So that is the reason that after all these years, at this moment, I've decided that I'm just going to keep the clients that I really want to keep. But throughout the years, I've had my assistants that have to deal with those type of parents sometimes because I don't have the time.
Yeah.
No kid should be in this business because their parents want them to be in the business. If a kid wants to be in this business, it's because he loves acting. And that's why I hold a free evaluation of any kid that wants to interview with me. I evaluate them alone. And then I really discover if this is what they really want or if it's the mom. And believe it or not, I have not accepted many kids. because I just told the parents, listen, just put him in basketball or put him in something else.
Yeah.
But don't put him with me because it's not going to work.
I love that you have this passion because you are an actress. So you have a passion already in you. So you can also, someone who is passionate about the craft can also spot someone else who is passionate about the craft.
Yes.
And, I have friends who have, people, when they see things on television or theater, in that instant, they say, oh, yeah, I want to do that. They don't see what comes before that.
Yeah.
And, I was in my studies, when I studied, my acting instructors, they would say, listen, if acting is something that you don't, if it's not something that you wouldn't mind doing and never getting paid for, this is not for you.
Right.
If you're going into it and you're just like, listen, I want to get on big screen because I want to get this big check, it's something that you have to have a passion for it to do it regardless of if any money comes in, especially when you're first starting out.
No, for sure. And then not only that, like Kevin was telling me, and a lot of my clients tell me this, I'm so blessed. I have another client, Nova, and he keeps telling me, I'm so blessed because I've never found a manager that could do both, that could actually coach me for my auditions too if I needed coaching.
So good.
Because of the pandemic, they don't go in person to audition anymore. Everything is self-tapes.
Yep.
I was just telling Jackie that, everything is self-tapes. Back then, it was easier. They would just go in and the casting director would audition you and tape you and everything. Now it's a whole different process. These kids at home, they have to, have the green screen or have a white wall and have a good lighting in order to self-tape. So what do they need? They need direction. So I'm working as a casting director in a way, too, because I coach them. I want to make sure the audition is good because the competition out there is tremendous.
Yeah.
It's huge. But the thing is also with doing those self-tapes at home, people get in this cycle of doing like 10, 20, 30 takes, where if you went in person, you'd only have one take. What is your opinion about that?
I think it sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's horrible. I think it's hard to know what it is that the casting director or the production or the director wants from that character that they're auditioning for. So, because I have so much experience, I'm able to read in between the lines. And I read over the character description like 10 times. I read the storyline. I try and, if I get a script, I try and browse through it if I don't get a chance to read the whole thing. And I'm able to tell my client, okay, I also have coaching sessions with some of my staff as well when I can't do it. And so they coach my kids, and even if it's virtually, and then they read with them. And then at that moment, we're able to stop and say, no, do this line different. That's not what the character wouldn't say it that way.
Yeah.
And so we wouldn't have them do 30 takes. No, we just try and limit it. Like, if they have to do it on their own because no one was available to coach or because it's very short or whatever, even if it's a commercial, they send it to us, and then between me and my staff, we approve it and make sure that it's good enough before sending it out. If not, I guess I had a kid do over an MP3 like 4 times.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because I wanted, the intention wasn't there.
Yeah.
And that's the only way they book.
Sure.
Or that they have the company. So it's very hard when the casting is not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like is there less leeway of like, oh, okay, well, it was just one take, one audition in person, where it's like now you have to make sure it's perfect to send it out?
It doesn't need to be perfect to send it out.
Yeah.
I'm the one that wants it to be perfect.
I get that. Hey, I get it.
And the reason is because of the competition.
Yeah,
Yep,
for
that
sure.
makes sense.
I mean, that's the reason I have top clients. That's the reason that, maybe I'm the only manager that it does that. And that's why my clients say, thank God that we have you, Susan. And sometimes they hate me. Why are you making me do it over again? I said, because this, and that. Try it again. Sometimes I prefer even sending 2 different options.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And I said, do it this way, do it. I sent 2 different options so that the casting can see how much you can give out there and how little.
The range.
The range.
Yeah.
Exactly, the range.
Yeah.
And but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot more work than what I'm getting in commission, to be honest with you.
It sounds it, yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I want to help my kids. I want them, and I have a lot of them already getting there, even bigger, you know, and little by little, you know. Which I'm sure you'll interview some of those later on.
I see the plug. I see you dropped that in there.
How can we say no to you, Susan? How can we say no to you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This conversation is so good. We have so many more questions, and we do want to highlight some of the talent that you're talking about.
Sure.
May come on here, may not come on here, but we're going to highlight a little bit of their work they're doing. But guys, quickly, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Take a little pause. When we come back, we have some more questions. I want to pick your brain a little bit more on the industry. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll have more with Susan when we return.
Welcome back to the AM show. We're sitting here with Susan, and we are having a blast. Okay, we're having laughs, and we're finding more about her background and jumping into some of the current things that are going on in the acting industry. So we're going to keep it going. We have a ton more to dive into. But again, welcome back, Susan. And yeah, we're just so excited and so happy to have you. You're just such a wealth of knowledge. And what I just continue to hang on is how passionate you are about the craft. I just love it. I love people who are passionate about anything. Like you could, if you were, you know, if you just were someone who just planted things, I'd be like, whoa, so you really like planting, huh? Okay. And so you are passionate about an industry also that I'm involved in. And so, yes, it is just amazing being able to talk to you. Yes.
No, thank you for the invite. A lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Lot of fun, yeah. And we were just talking about you being just a stellar manager, a stellar coach as well. Now let's talk about some of the success stories. You mentioned a few people, but you actually have one of your talent was just in, I believe Kevin is who you're talking about, and Percy Jackson, right?
Well, Kevin Chacon just finished shooting for season 2, and it's gonna air in December.
Yeah, there it is up on the screen.
Yeah,
He's all the way on the right, correct?
Yes, all the way on the right. Kevin, I started him out at the age of 9.
Wow.
Wow.
9 years old.
Now he's 18 years old.
Now he's in Chicago right now.
Wow.
He's shooting something else over there.
That's absolutely incredible. And then you have another talent who's in The Lion King. Right?
Yes, well, Jesus del Orden was on Lion King back in 2009, just before the pandemic, and he was also in Kinky Boots.
Yeah.
And he's been with me since he was 7. Now he's 18, and he's working. He just finished shooting a film, which we can't disclose, but it's with a nice big star. And so that's Jesus also. And I have Jacob Crespo. Also, that's another client. Well, I have too many, so I don't want to know. I don't want none of my clients to get mad at me.
You have a whole list of them. And I think one of your most notable clients from the past was one Mr. Ricky Martin.
Oh, Ricky,
Is that correct? So tell us about that.
Oh my God, that was back in the 90s, early 90s, yeah. Ricky came to me when he got out of Menudo. And I remember when he came to me, he says, oh, I want to, work as an actor more and do more acting jobs, etc. And I said, sure, I can manage you, whatever comes in. And so I was able to get him into General Hospital. And so he was there for a while, and then we spoke. He kept coming to my home office back then before I had my other big office because I was just starting out. And he said, Susan, I want to go to Mexico. Should I go to Mexico? Should I not go to Mexico? Because I really want to follow my singing career, and I really want to make it. And they're offering me a telenovela in Mexico. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Because I really want to sing. And I said, listen, just go to Mexico, because that's where you're really going to make it as a singer. Just from an actor, you can jump instantly into your singing career. And he did that, and he became big, and I didn't sign him. But anyways, we had a nice relationship for like a couple of years, so it was nice. He was a sweetheart. He was like, really sweet kid. Back then, I'm talking about back then, when I met him. And actually, I saw him when I was pregnant with my daughter, Sophia, which was 26 years ago. I was walking into 93.1 FM to be interviewed by them about what I do as well, and give insight about everything, just like now. And so I had my big belly, and I was walking in. Ricky was walking in for an interview himself. He goes, Susan Rybin! He goes, and I said, oh my God, you remember me? He says, how can I not? He picks me up, he kisses my belly. And so Sophia says, Mom, You know, I got kissed by Ricky Martin when I was in your belly, you know. And so that was nice. That's how I got his picture. And he says, "What do you want from me, Susan? What do you want from me?" I said, "I don't know. Give me some pictures, autograph them to Rybin Talent. I don't know." And so, but I haven't seen him since. I wish I could see him again. He was a sweetheart, and I love him still because he's a firm believer, also like I am, about helping youth.
Yes.
You know, and so I hope that one day, Ricky, if you're around, I want to see you. If you remember me still after all these years, because I did. It was a really nice phase here in New York.
That's amazing.
Wow, what an incredible story.
I'm telling you, I'm
Yeah.
telling you. You know, I love that you also have this initiative to help the youth, and especially I equate it somewhat to, you know, teachers and you know, if you have a teacher, if you have a teacher who's teaching your children, you want them to really care and really look at each student that they have as an individual and understand that they have different needs, especially as they grow.
Yes.
And that is something that you have because of your passion. Is there a specific technique that you use to make sure that you're able to properly track the development of all of your clients at the same time?
Yes, excuse me. In the group classes that we've had over the years in Rybin Studio, the technique I have is mainly vocabulary words, terminologies that explains to them the business behind the business as well. And also to be ready for rejection. And because as they're growing up, they can do maybe 50 auditions. I had a kid for 3 years, auditions and auditions and auditions, and wouldn't book nothing. And after 3 years, then she booked something with Jennifer Lopez, you know?
Wow.
So it's about timing, it's about luck, and it's about knowing how to deal with rejection and not take it personally. As long as you love what you're doing, and in the classes, they have fun, and they develop, and they learn so many different things about acting, including from improvisation, how to audition in front of the camera, how to do commercials, how to do these auditions, et cetera, that it kind of prepares them what's really going to happen later in real life.
Yeah.
And then many of them, I've had kids who are very shy and that really didn't want to do this, and then I've been developing them, and they come out of their shell, and then they come out being lawyers or doctors, and they still call me up.
Wow.
You know, I had one of my kids, Andrea Romero. She's now the weather reporter in Telemundo. She's won a lot of Emmys for years. She's like a daughter to me, Andrea. Romero started with me when she was, 14, I think, or 13. And she was with me till she was 18, and then she says, I'm not gonna pursue this anymore. And she did a lot of films and stuff. I really wanna be a weather reporter. I wanna be, you know? And I said, good for you. And we're still in touch, and now she put her daughter in my classes.
Wow, that's amazing.
So this is what keeps happening throughout the years. You know, like it's word of mouth. I don't, publicize. I don't need to put it everywhere. It's like just people come to me. But yes, I like to develop for anybody that wants to do whatever they want to do in their life, not necessarily if they don't come out to just be actors,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Because acting helps for everything.
Yes.
You know, I even had autistic kids in my classes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it helps for everything.
Wow.
It gives confidence, right?
Completely.
Yeah.
You know, kids who are shy, people that don't know how to talk to get a job. We just did, my daughter and I, we did something at Ushley, which was in Chicago, and we did a workshop for college students, and it was called How Acting and Music Can Build Self-Confidence. And how can that build self-confidence? And these kids came out of there, these college students, like raving. They had so much fun, and they learned.
Yeah.
Because it does help build self-confidence.
It really does.
Yeah.
Oh, no, for sure.
How big are you on improv and your either your students or your class learning improv?
Yes, we do a lot of improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have a separate class, which is a theater class.
Okay.
Which is intensive theater class that I have one of my great teachers, Diego Chiri, teaches that. And now we're going to have like a little graduation show on June 1st. And then we invite industry people and everything. and they get they get their diplomas. You know, they always get a diploma at the end.
Oh, that's so cute.
that's
So yeah,
incredible.
break that down a little bit about how the structure is. So you have beginner, intermediate.
Well, right now my
Yeah.
daughter changed the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I gave her the school. It used to be one intensive acting course for acting and auditioning techniques, which was 8 months, once a week, and then the theater intensive course for the ones that graduated from that. So now my daughter, Sophia, decided as the new director, because I can't handle the studio anymore, I'm just in charge of the management, to do short workshops. Actually, it's working out nicely
Oh, good.
because it's 12-week workshops.
Yeah.
And so people just want to go for a short period of time. So 12-week workshops of acting, intensive auditioning, singing workshops, improv workshops. The theater one is the longest one because we said, let's just leave that as a theater troupe.
Yeah.
So that every year, anybody that even is a client that wants to refresh their, you know, and get their, get practice again, you know,
Yeah, get the
and all
chops
that.
in.
So that's what Sophia's doing with Rybin Studio right now.
She's doing a fantastic job, it sounds like.
love it,
Switching
yeah.
it up for the
Yeah,
best.
yeah, she is. I'm not involved. I'm just the founder now.
Oh, just the founder.
And I go in and I do scream a little bit sometimes when I get in there. but then I say, I love you all. And then they say, okay, Susan. They were all nervous this past Saturday because I was there and I was like, I should leave.
No, it's good though. You got to come on in, make sure everyone's doing good.
Well, that helps me too because there's a lot of them in development in the workshops, and I want to see who I can get for my management.
So that's, yeah.
You know what
that's
I'm saying?
perfect,
Like I
yeah.
start picking and choosing the ones
Sure.
that I feel are ready
Sure.
to really be managed, to be represented by me for the talent management.
Yeah.
So that's why my studio drum and Rybin Talent Management, in a way, kind of go hand in hand,
Yeah.
even though they're two separate entities.
That's
Gotcha.
amazing.
So you see potential clients.
Yes.
And you see if somebody is ready or not.
Yes.
Hey, maybe do another workshop or two,
Yes.
then maybe I'll sign
Yes.
them. What are you looking for specifically when you look at a team?
Well, number one, I always say passion. But sometimes I have kids like Jesus, surprised me. Jesus was very shy, the one that did Lion King and Kinky Boots. And after a year of being with me, he opened up. And all that talent was all the way inside of him.
Wow.
It was hidden.
Wow.
And he came out.
Blossom, yeah.
He blossomed.
Wow.
Gain the confidence maybe.
There you
And
go.
there you go.
Yeah.
So that's what I look for. I see there's some kids that have surprised me.
Yeah.
You
In the
know,
rough.
and you say, really? And they
Yeah.
go, oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Well, it's also
know?
with their own maturity too. Them maybe going through puberty
Yes.
or them just figuring themselves out when they're so
yes.
young.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. So no, I definitely try and help whoever I know that they're passionate about it, they really love it, and that I see them that they work hard. Because some of them may not be as talented, but they work so hard.
Yeah.
That then all of a sudden, boom, they break out of that and then they start booking.
Huge.
So it's really interesting. To me, every kid and every actor is special in their own way.
Yeah.
No one is better than anyone.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own little special skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes them unique.
Their own superpower.
Everybody's
Yep.
unique.
Yeah.
Everybody's unique.
Yeah.
So that's what's important.
Sure.
Find that, find that uniqueness. What
Yeah.
makes you unique?
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make you a star.
Yeah, and I think also in your role, you have this really unique way of locating that, and then you have the opportunity to kind of like fan that flame,
Yes.
and like really build that flame. And then I think with the greatest actors and actresses that we love, they all have that like niche thing, you know.
Yes.
And that niche is that flame, whatever that thing that is, that makes them them.
Yes.
That's what we love about them the most.
Yes, and it's not easy to find.
Yeah.
It's not easy to find, but they're out there. And I want to keep discovering, everybody out there, I want to discover new talent, but it is so hard. And, especially now, I mean, I like interviews like these, like
Yeah.
you're interviewing me now, I would be interviewed every year, like 3, 4, 5 times in major networks like Telemundo, Univision, Fox, all these, to talk about this. And that's the way I was able always to discover all this talent. Now it's all social media. You think I'm on social media? Yes. So my son handles my social media, and everybody handles it. But it's social. So through social media, that's how they're finding out about me now.
So it's kind of a flip-flop now.
Yeah.
They're finding you,
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. All right, sure.
Well, it's a good thing. You have more of a pool to choose from, in a sense.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because now, because of the pandemic, I have clients in North Carolina. I have another top client right now that's in Atlanta. And, her movie, actually, I'm going to give her a shout out. Natalia Lares and Kevin Chacon are in that movie. Giving a shout out to my good friend Elaine Del Valle, because we're going to go to LA for the Los Angeles Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be now in May, and that her movie is the centerpiece, Brownsville Bread.
Oh.
And Kevin and Natalia are in the movie, and they're in this Natalia's the lead.
Two of your clients.
Two of my clients, so it's going to be a big deal. So yeah.
Huge.
But I know it's about loving what you do.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Loving what you
That's
do.
amazing. I actually do have a bit of something outside of the box a bit from what we were talking about. So I'm a big foodie, and
You're a big what?
A foodie.
Oh, foodie.
Foodie.
Oh, okay.
And I know that you have a passion also in the culinary arts.
Yes.
Can you speak more about that? And listen, if you're cooking anything in the next couple weeks, okay?
I am a foodie.
Okay. I need to know more about that. What is it specifically you use? Because when you have this background in the Latino cooking, I want to know, what are we making?
Well, well, it's funny you say that, because many years ago, my good friend Maylene, she asked me to go and do a casting, because she knew I loved to cook, for Goya Foods. And so I auditioned and I got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God! You have that too. You were researching me. Anyways, and because I love to cook and I love to entertain. My parents were born in Argentina, but I was born in the village here in New York City. And I grew up in the Latino community of Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, everything, you name it.
Yeah.
And I love every single type of food. And yes, I use Sazon Goya. I'm sorry. When I cook. So Rafael Toro, Ralphie is so funny. He's a PR of Goya Foods, and he's also the godfather of my daughter, and Mei-Ling is the godmother, but it's a family thing too. But not because it's family. It's just the thing is that I love to cook and I love to entertain.
Yeah.
And yes, I love the spices. I love also healthy food. I think it's very important to, good nutrition.
Yeah.
And I studied nutrition, and I wanted to I always have a balanced meal, and everybody should have a balanced meal. If you have a balanced meal and you really eat well, you'll feel really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge, yeah.
And it's very important. And I went through that with my son too, because my son had kidney disease, and he had a kidney transplant 5 years ago, and we went through all that. More nutrition.
Yeah.
And very, very nutrition oriented.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good food is very important.
Yeah.
So the spices are good. Stay away from salt, okay, everybody? Try and cook with no salt. No salt, and try and stay away from too much flour, too many carbs, Just be careful what you eat, but you can eat everything as long as it's balanced.
As long as it's balanced. I love that.
There we go.
I love
Z
that.
always knows how to make us hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
He always is making us starving. Now I want all the food, all the Goya, everything. I love it. Well, Susan, we're just so glad that you were able to spend time with us this morning. We know how busy you are, and I just wanted to ask one last question. What is the legacy you hope to leave with everything that you've done in this industry?
Oh my God, I just got chills.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a hard question. I would say the legacy that I want to leave is that I hope I hope that the management can continue without me, and the school, in a way, you know, to keep helping others. I hope that the school can become maybe someday a nonprofit or something, so that kids that have no money can actually, you know, study there and get, you know, sponsors or stuff like that.
That's amazing.
And I want, yeah, I want everybody just to remember that just live every day to the fullest and just love what you do and be happy about what you're doing. If you're unhappy, just don't do it. And in the arts, I'm really hoping that all my kids that can become big stars already soon enough, and I'm able to see that, that'll be a dream come true after 42 years of building careers.
Wow.
Wow. 42 years, amazing
Yes,
stuff. I
yes.
love that, and it all will happen. I think that is so beautiful. What a great wish for that to become a nonprofit. Why not? Wow, guys, we promised you it was going to be a fantastic interview, and that it was. Susan, thank you so much
Yes.
for
Thank
coming
you.
here. So
Thank you for the
appreciate
invite.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We have more of the show when we return, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Wow. Oh.